Hi there, everyone. This is Dr. Gwen from the Dr. Gwen International Training and Empowerment Academy and host of the iTunes show, The Dr. Gwen Show. So this week we have been talking about living an empowered life and empowering others. Now, I'm still going to wait. I love to wait for my friends to get on the line with me so that I can see the directions. And in the process, I just want to share a feedback that I got from the video. It seems as though that the transmission is a little slower, that it's not going as quickly as it could, or the clarity of it is not great. It's a lot better than when I was doing this with my cell phone. Now I'm on my tablet, and now I'm going to look into seeing how I can do that from perhaps my laptop. Maybe that will be better since I'll be using a direct line to connect the internet to my laptop. So we'll see how that goes. If you know any apps or any particular software that I could load onto my computer that's trustworthy, if you will mention that for me, if you watch this a little later, leave that comment for me in my messages so that I can know what it is. One of the challenges in going online and downloading stuff is you never know what you're getting. And I tried to Google for reviews and to see what other people are saying, but still, I want to be cautious because I don't want to pick up a virus on my computer. So that's just simply the way it is. And today we are discussing living an empowered life and continuing the conversation on empowering others. And as I was thinking about what I am going to talk about today, I had a recollection of a conversation I had with a friend of mine decades ago. I mean, this was really a long time ago. Thank you so much for joining me. And during the conversation, one thing she said to me was, you have friends so that you can see, almost to the effect that what you can get out of them later. I thought, I'd never heard anything like that in my entire life. I wasn't raised like that. I always saw my parents helping people, and they never once asked for anything in return. There was a time when we used to live very close to a church, and they would have a once a year seminar, something that was big, that a lot of people drove hundreds of miles to get to on buses. And I remembered my mother. We didn't have a large house and we didn't have much, but I remembered her opening up the doors, allowing these people to come in. These were women. She gave them a place to sleep. She provided food for them, for them to wash or bathe, and all of that. And I remembered my mom doing that. And so I grew up with that model. So when a friend said, you have friends to see what you can get from them, that was like novel to me. So I started wondering, what in the world is she going to get from me? But that kind of gave me a perspective. Now, the interesting thing was, though, that as I started to pay attention, one thing that I noticed was that people in general tend to think that way. They tend to think about what they can give, and if they give something, they're looking for something in return. Wow, that's kind of foreign to me. I like to just help people for the sake of helping. But it really did honestly cause me to look very seriously at what I was doing. Because if you like to help people, as I do, then you can find yourself being bombarded by a lot of requests and people just not being careful about how they're making the requests. I have given much to people who ask me for help. I mean, hours. And then sometimes I do make small requests or requests. Maybe they don't see it as small. And sometimes it's not returned, but it kind of makes you feel a little sad when it happens that way. But what about you? Are you having a lot of requests that are made of you? And how are you handling those requests? Because see, today we're actually talking about you empowering others. And I'm talking particularly to the people who really love to help people. What does that have to do with empowering? Well, you'd be surprised to know. But if you like to help people, there's something that you have to really pay attention to. You must be very careful that you are not overwhelming yourself with a lot of requests. Remember, we started off talking about how you can have it all. And if you want to have it all, and especially if you want to be empowered, it's really, really key that you understand that people are going to make requests of you, and those requests have to align with what you are about. So instead of now, in the past, whereas when everybody would make requests, I wouldn't necessarily have time to honor all the requests. But now what I do is I gauge those requests against my personal passions. So my passion is to empower women, for women to live a powerful life, to understand that there are no limitations that are insurmountable, that they cannot overcome, and that they don't have to choose between their dreams and their family. You can have it all. And you can go back to my videos if you're just joining me to see or to hear what I discussed on that. But if you are in that situation where you have people who are bombarding you, then you need to make sure that you are protecting your space, your family space, and your mission and your vision and your passion. So your passion, my passion, becomes the gauge for which I say yes or no. Of course, there are other things beyond that, but it is my passion. Now, I'm not completely saying that if someone asks you to do something for them that's outside of your passion, you won't once in a while honor it. Because if somebody in your family gets sick, or if there's an emergency, that doesn't necessarily align with your passion. But you would, of course, attend to those things because they're important and they're meaningful to life. And you have to be real careful about that. So you have to tune in to make certain that your passions is the gauge to which you say yes or no. So I did actually go in and I took a look at some of the things that I was engaged in. And those things that did not align fully with my passions, I cleaned house. So this comes back now to helping. How are you able to help people? Maybe you may have the gifts of help. And if you have the gifts of help and you know what your passions are, then it's really key that you step into that space. Because here's what I believe. I really believe that every single human being is gifted with something. You were born with something. That is valuable. That can make an impression in someone else's lives and also in your life. I also believe this, that if every single human being steps out to live into that passion, suffering, pain, and all of the atrocities that inflict humanity will be way less. That's what I believe. And if you who are watching this would now think, what am I gifted at? What is my passion? What can I do to make a difference in someone else's life that will empower them? You see, there is a strange thing that happens. Because when you step out to do that, you actually empower yourself. Are you feeling depressed or down or overwhelmed right now? Do you feel like there is something that is maybe missing in your life, or that everything is just not seeming to go the way you want it? Well, what I would encourage you to do is to think about whose life can you make an impact in that aligns with your passion. Now, today is not a long live cast. However, it's an important one, because the moment you step into identifying what that is for you and you start living it to make a difference for someone else, then an amazing thing begins to happen in your personal life. You start feeling more energized, more revived. You start feeling more alive. The sun seems to shine a lot brighter. The flowers take on more vibrancy in their colors. The air is clean and pure. These are all perceptions that just shifts when you are aligning with what you love. And you've heard me say this so many times, that finding and living that passion is key. There are too many people, too many of you who are out there not feeling fulfilled like you can or should, because you just have not found your passion. Now, I also did one thing. I started a nonprofit organization. This was a few years ago, to help single homeless mothers. And I have a request that I'm going to make of you on this live cast today. So let me tell you a little bit about that, because I'm going to be making a request about that. And then also giving you a resource link that you can go to download some information that will be beneficial for you. But the nonprofit organization was established to help single homeless mothers. Now, I know it's not all forms of homelessness that I'm after, because I understand that some people have mental issues, they have emotional issues, and they have other issues that I am not equipped to deal with. You know, a therapist or someone who is more trained in the clinical setting would need to address those. So I'm not equipped to deal with those levels of needs. However, there are women who just have had a life circumstance happen. Maybe a medical situation that left them empty, their bank accounts empty. Maybe a life-threatening disease. Maybe something that happened that landed them in a situation where they find themselves homeless, and they have an intense desire for something more or something bigger or something better in their lives. So if there are those kinds of women, those are the women that my nonprofit is designed to help, to get them back on their feet so they are self-sufficient. I love self-sufficiency. I love independence. I love empowering people to live their own lives fully and to their utmost. And so if I can be just a tiny little dent in the direction of their lives in a positive direction, that's who I want to be. So this nonprofit organization is established for that, and it's helping these women. Now, I need you. If you feel that this is a mission that aligns with what you are about, your passions, your gifts, I am actually looking for someone who can be at the helm of this thing, to take it and run with it while we help to support. There's a board that will be behind you and will help to support. And so message me if you need more details about that. I want to be transparent to say that right at this particular moment, it would be a volunteer position. So we need a strong person I'd like to have someone who is a visionary, someone who is sharp, someone with a heart to help people, someone who is strong, someone who understands the contribution of making a difference in other people's lives. So if you feel that that is you, private message me or leave a message below so that I can see that. Now, think about yourself for a moment. What can you start? You have a gift. You have a passion. If you don't have a passion and you don't know what your passions are, hold on. I'm going to give you a resource at the end of this so you can go to that site and download this guide that will help you. However, every one of us have something that we love. Now, think about this. Look around in the world and think, not just worldwide, maybe in your community, and look for a need. What need is there that's currently existing? Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your presence. Look around, see what needs are existing and which ones align with your gifts and your talents and your passions. Notice what I'm saying here, because it's going to be really important that align, because if it doesn't, you're going to feel burnt out, you won't feel fulfilled, and the people you are serving won't be happy with it because they'll feel your energy. So what mission can you fulfill with that mission and passion? Okay, write it down. Then start putting a set of goals and strategies in place to achieve that. Now tomorrow I'm going to do a really big lesson on goals and passions being aligned in a structure, right? So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow. So come back tomorrow at 3 and we will discuss how you really set the goals up to empower yourself. But right now, really think, what can you do to make a difference? And if you are in an organization, some of you go to churches or synagogues and you're involved in community events. Maybe you go to some of these community events and it doesn't fulfill you. You feel like it's a drain on you. That is because it's not aligning with your passions. And you don't need to force yourself to go on out there to do something that doesn't align with your passions and your love. So what do you do in that case? Start something on your own if nothing exists. Be the leader. Step out and start something for the community. Start talking to little voices. Start talking to people here and there and sharing your mission with them and encouraging them to join you in that goal and in that passion. Now, I want to end this by giving you a link. And if you find yourself not knowing what your passions are, then this is a free guide that will help you. And it's available at www.passionstoearnings.com. Now, I'm not going to try to type it down here. I'm afraid I will push something and disappear again. So I'm not going to try to do that right here. But I will post it once this live cast is over so that you can actually access the link. Click on it. It'll take you to a page where you will enter your email address and maybe your first name. And then you can download this resource. This resource has a guide that will help you to find the work you love, okay? The work you love. It's not the one that helps you to discover your top 5 passions, but this one should be really good enough to get you started. And you can start figuring out what it is that you like and start doing this. So in summary, let me leave you with these words. Be certain that if you want to feel empowered in your own life, step out and empower somebody else's life. Look for your gifts and your talents and look for your passions and see how those passions align with a need that's existing in your community. Then you will match it up to see how will your passion meet that need. Get out, get in action, and do it. Okay? And tomorrow what we will do is to talk about how you can set up some systems in place to help you, not just to help you to fulfill on that, but to help you to fulfill on the many things that you have in your life right now that you need to feel accomplished doing, and yet you may probably feel overwhelmed by them. So, once again, thank you so incredibly much for joining me. Remember to reach out if you want to be a volunteer in the organization that helps single homeless mothers. And also, if you want the resource for discovering the work you love, I'm going to drop a link on this page so you can have it. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Thanks for joining me, and you have the most amazing rest of today.